According to Putin, Russia is controlled by God. That is, it is God who is responsible for the war and the mountains of corpses, for the bombings and raids, for the disabled and refugees. But if you interpret the words of a bald man exactly the opposite, then everything falls into place. This territory is captured by the devil. And the devil is war, corpses and suffering. With the infernal infantilism of the population, ready to endure and die, and hope that one day some Messiah will come and save everyone. Will not come and will not save, and it will take a very long time to suffer and pay for what you have done. But I don't want to think about it. Easier to run away, from Shebekina, Belgorod, Kursk. It will become scary in Moscow, and they will run from Moscow. The territory is large, there is where to hide under the Shkanka, with an aunt in the Urals, with a grandmother in Mahozransk. After all, they lived so well before, when nothing concerned anyone, and they didn't knock on the door with subpoenas, and the drones didn't fly overhead. There must be a corner of the Dniprikemishi in the cave, where it is quiet, calm, and no one touches anyone. Meanwhile, Putin almost did not lie. Personally, he, indeed, no longer manages any Russia and does not control the processes, because they are already developing on their own. RDK iron the Belgorod region, unknown drones cut through the skies, and the crazy adventurer only has to go crazy and pray at the tomb of Ivan the Terrible. The only thing the rat commander cares about is the strength of his own power. After Comrade Zai looked kindly at Miss Houston, the Prime Minister was ordered to stay at home and forget about foreign policy horizons. Even for the inauguration of Erdogan, Putin decided to send Volodin. He can't go on his own, neither to the SCO, nor to the BRICS, and here it is. What if the Hague curse catches up in Ankara, and do not care that Erdogan will perceive the gay Volodin at the head of the Russian delegation as a slap in the face? This is just an organic move. Putin's toxicity implies dirty decisions. Even Prigozhin and Kadyrov, who are pitted against each other by a rat, are not so smelly, although from them it carries a mile away as a criminal garbage heap and a cemetery. According to the leader, there should not be any dangerous alliances, so he ordered Delimkhanov's hit on Prigozhin with hammering the arrow. The latter was not afraid. He said that the Kadyrovites have all the phones, the connection is working, so there are no problems. And his accomplice in Wagner, the thug Yutkin, even reminded that he easily dealt with such brothers in mind during the Chechen wars. All this fascist clowning took place against the backdrop of shelling of the regions bordering Ukraine and the cries of the inhabitants of Shebekina, who, in their infantile skin, began to feel the delights of the special operation. Controlling nothing, Putin feigned concern and even called with the words, "How can I help?" To which they answered that they would cope with God's help. On Friday night, the Belgorod, Bryansk and Kursk regions were attacked by drones. In the Smolensk region, kamikaze drones attacked an oil refinery and gas distribution station, while local authorities reported that almost all drones were shot down. The closer the X hour, when the armed forces of Ukraine will knock on the Crimea, the more likely it is that the occupiers will blow up everything they can there. It is reported that a provocation is being prepared at a chemical plant in Armyansk. The invaders brought explosives to the territory of the Crimean Titan plant and are mining the territory with might and main. A probable explosion could lead to the release of thousands of tons of toxic substances into the atmosphere, which would lead to a mortal danger to people and the environment. Residents of the Autonomous Republic of Crimea and at least 7 other regions of Ukraine, as well as Turkey and the Russian Federation itself, will suffer. But the racists don't care. If Crimea ceases to belong to them, they are ready to destroy it according to the principle "don't get it to anyone." And they will not leave the Zaporizhzhia NPP just like that. And they brought tactical nuclear weapons to Belarus for a reason. After all, it is clear that Putin, who came at the explosions, will leave at the explosions, just on a new turn. 3 scenarios of the so-called transit are being considered on the old square. The first one is with Putin's convincing victory on stumps. The second is with a replacement, like Miss Houston, who will become the acting president under the Constitution and guarantee a soft reboot of the system. And the third, A sharp rise of a young and energetic leader like Patrushev Jr. The latter is unlikely. After all, in Beijing they didn't even look at him. All eyes were fixed on Miss Houston. So that leaves two options, bald and bald. However, there is one more, and it is the most preferable, so that the armed forces of Ukraine reach Moscow and President Zaluzhny, whom Bostrykhin's dogs were so looking for, to the Kremlin. Submit and leave. And what? Neprykamishi agree. After all, they do not climb into politics.